Hey, this is Pastor Larry here with Ask Larry, and I want to take a few moments and answer Kevin's question, one I get quite often. It's about multi-site. Kevin has a church that has been quite successful in adding multiple services, and now they're considering moving to multiple sites. So, Kevin, here's some of the things I've learned over the years are the most common things that keep reoccurring. Number one is you have to make sure you understand why you're going multi-site. Because when we go to a multi-site ministry because we think it's sexy or cool or everybody else is doing it, almost every single time I see it done that way, it doesn't work out very well. Multi-site should be something you do either because God has called you clearly to do this and given you a missional purpose, or because you've grown so large you can't accommodate everybody in the current site and with the current services you have. In particular, there's kind of a 20-minute drive time circle that is the sweet spot for multi-site. You see, when people drive more than 20 minutes, what happens is come and see evangelism disappears. People begin to invite their friends say it's too far, or they come and then they say, wow, that was really great, but it's too far. Another thing that drops off is youth involvement. If you live 20 minutes away and you have a junior high or a high schooler that you want to get to a youth meeting in the middle of the week, well, it's an hour and 20-minute commute unless mom or dad stays at the church or serves in the program. That, by the way, is why larger regional churches have smaller percentage youth groups than churches that are more community-based. It's the main reason we here at North Coast went to multi-site. We didn't want to be an event center that people regionally drove to. We wanted to be a series of community churches where people could invite their friends and we weren't stuck with a 20-minute drive time barrier. So the first thing to think about is, are we really called to this? And do we really need it because we have either not enough space, not enough good time slots, or people driving from too far? A second thing you need to consider is whether by multi-site you mean multi-congregational, which is what you have when you have live teaching at each site, a wonderful model that has been around for 2,000 years and has been the founding point of each and every movement or denomination out there. It starts with a great church and people who want to duplicate it. Or you want to be what I call truly multi-site, which is the same teaching, in my mind, hopefully a teaching team that are going into different sites. And if you have the same teacher or same teaching team, then you truly are multi-site because you have the same message. You know, the big idea being preached by a bunch of people, well, liturgical churches have done that. The circuit riding ministries of the early days of America did that. And again, it's a wonderful model, but it really wasn't multi-site because the value and culture is really set by the communicators. Now, there's a third thing you need to think through, and that is, do we have a leader or do we have a shepherd? One of the mistakes all of us made in the early days of multi-site is we thought that we were creating the message, the branding, the mojo, the momentum. And so what we would do is we would start our multi-sites with a shepherd who would love on the people that they had and would hold it all together, and we would provide the growth engine. We were all dead wrong. You see, a growing church doesn't just have great preaching or great worship. It also has great leadership. And so if you want something to grow, you need to put in charge of it someone who has a history of growing things. You know, past is prologue, and leaders cause the things they were leading in the past to grow, while shepherds cause the things they were leading in the past to stay healthy. The body of Christ needs both. But before you move into multi-site, make sure if you want it to grow, you've got a leader. Because if you give a shepherd 50 people or 350 people, 3 years later, they will give you 52, 45, or 355 or 285. That's what shepherds do. Incredibly important part of the body of Christ. But when you want something to grow, always put in charge of it someone who has a history of growing things. Not necessarily multi-sites. I mean, they can be out in the business world where they cause things to grow, or they could be a youth pastor, or they could be in children's ministry, or an executive pastor, all kinds of different roles. But leaders grow things. Shepherds hold things together. So, Kevin, those are some of the things you want to keep in mind as you and your church leadership team thinks through whether or not multi-site has your name on it.